Welcome everybody to In the Comics Dead Edition. Thanks for tuning in. It's a little late, but
little technical difficulties.
Difficulties over the last time we did this, but we're gonna bring it to you still today. Season finale of Fear the Walking Dead. Episode 6. The Good Man, it was called.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just get right into it. Dave, what was your initial impression of the finale of the series?
Finale was really good. I really, to me, it kind of went exactly where we expected it. I think where you got a lot of conclusions, obviously, from this storyline. It went in a little different direction in the sense where I thought they'd actually be heading east like they originally planned, and getting out of the city. But there's a different plan that came up, which I thought was really cool and really exciting, because I think it's taking the show in a different direction for next season. So, but overall, I think performances were good. I think the writing was good. The introduction of not the introduction, but we saw him last episode, Strand. Strand, yeah. So I thought he was a good character, and looking forward to see what he does next season. But overall, I was very entertained. I liked it a lot. Yeah,
this is just like you said. This is where I was hoping the show was going to get to, and it did. It went to where I was hoping it was going to go, and it just goes to show in the Walking Dead universe, even the best laid plans go to absolute hell once the zombies are let loose. Because it doesn't matter at that point. It's kind of survival, just survive. That's the whole point of everything. It's always interesting how this happens. Even on The Walking Dead in seasons past, with this one, the military had a plan to get out. They were going to do everything, and then of course everything gets jacked up because Daniel releases all those zombies that were in the stadium locked up there. So let's get right into that first, because that was kind of leading right from the previous episode where Daniel tortured Andy to get that information about Cobalt and everything, what it was about, and where the infirmary was. That's where Travis and Madison, everyone wanted to go to get. Ophelia also and Daniel wanted to get their mom, who they don't know has been deceased since episode 5. Spoilers. So that they're all headed there, but they have a plan to bring the zombies and take down the military. So let's talk about that scene there when we finally see the big horde of zombies that we haven't seen in the show yet, and when they attack the base. How'd you think that all played out?
Well, that's the thing too, is not only is it the first time, I guess, in the show that we saw this horde, but it's also the first time it seems like these characters have seen a horde like this. They locked them up in there, but they haven't seen them unleashed like this. So you got to, again, we've said it, I think, several times on this, talking about the show, is that we have to look at it from the perspective that they've never been in this situation before, right?
So we've been watching it for 5 seasons, 6 seasons now, so
correct.
We're used to it.
Almost. We can survive in it now, But these people is like, so you see this 2,000 people, zombies walking at you.
A hell of a lot more than 2,000 on that big wide shot.
It had to have been about 3 or so, easy. But you just don't know how to react as a soldier, because if you've never seen that, it seems like you're used to just going down the street, seeing like a group of 10 or something like that, taking them out. Right. Now it's a whole nother ball game, and they're tearing down the fence, they're not stopping. So you're just screaming at the TV like, run! Just run. They can't outrun you. Just run. But they don't know that yet. They think that guns can cure all, and it doesn't, and they find out the hard way. So, but to me, I thought there was a true telling of what actually would happen if that happened at that base. Yeah, there was a nice little homage in there, or at least I thought it was, when the soldier who got bit and he's running around like crazy in the helicopter, his blades were spinning, and he went head first right into the back rotor blade, as opposed to Day of the Living Dead when the guy got his head cut off. A little different, but it was a kind of little cool homage. I saw that and I was like, that's pretty sweet. So this is where we get everyone who has been separated. We get Madison and Travis and their whole gang, and then we get Strand and Nick, who are now kind of a team heading out. And they had 2 different philosophies leaving the infirmary detention center, I guess it was, whatever you want to call it. When Victor and Nick got out, Nick wants to, of course, help the
other people get out, everybody's screaming for them to get out. It's like, nope, it's all about survival. And as Madison and Travis come in, they can't leave without letting those doors open, let those people out. But that causes a lot more chaos, slows everyone down.
Yeah.
So you got to think again. They've never done this before. So, we're looking at The Walking Dead in the future, where people like how do you like sacrifice other people for your own well-being. But they all come together. The sequences when they're in the actual hospital, that felt very Walking Dead-ish, more to the side of what we're seeing now with everyone fighting and zombies popping up everywhere and getting trapped in small areas with hordes of them. And then we get to the point where we're going to see, now we want to talk about where they're going.
Yeah.
Walking Dead, we're talking about they were going, it was Washington, D.C. That was like kind of the goal initially. And this one, they go a completely different route. Victor Strand says, come to my house.
Yes.
Basically, come with me. We're like, oh, his house? What the heck? And he's got this incredibly gorgeous view on a hillside in LA, looking over the water and everything, and just obviously very wealthy, well-to-do, or however you want to put it. And everyone thinks they're finally safe from the escape, and they all think they're going to stay there. But Strand informs Nick in their own little one-on-one conversation that they're not staying.
Right.
Now let's talk a little bit about why they're not staying, and the reason, because I thought it was a good. We've never really seen this in the comics or in the TV show or anything like that. But they're taking a totally different strategy to avoid zombies.
Right.
What did you think of that? The solution to it and where they're going?
Yeah, I liked it a lot, because we haven't seen that neither in the books or in the shows. And it's funny, and maybe they have, but I haven't missed it. But out of all of this, no one's ever mentioned about getting to the water,
right,
or going to an island, or getting on a boat and loading up a boat and living out in the water, or whatever.
Yeah.
No one's ever talked about that, at least what I've read or heard and seen. So it's refreshing to see that them going that road and taking a different take on what's happening in the Walking Dead universe. So first off, I guess there's a boat to get to the boat. I don't even know how
That's
they
true.
get there.
It is kind of sitting in the middle of the water. I'm not really
it's
sure.
way out there.
Like, it's just sitting there. So unless you got a remote control, or I don't know.
But it's pretty cool.
That was a cool little thing they're doing there. And now there's two things that happen we have to get to before we wrap up here. And it is Ophelia getting shot by Andy in the parking garage. Now she's wounded. Andy, this is still a mystery to me as far as like what the implications are. There bigger implications to this scene, or is it just to wound one of the characters to make it a little more difficult for them to move forward? Because it's always like somebody's got a hurt leg or shot here. Her wound doesn't look mortal or anything like that, or fatal. So it seems like, why is that scene there? It seemed like it didn't seem like it was stalling for time. It felt like there's got to be something bigger to it down the road, because there seems to be there's still that it could be just the wrap up of the tension between Daniel and Andy. But if Andy's supposedly in love with Ophelia, why does he turn the gun from Daniel, who he could have shot easily and killed in an instant, and shoots Ophelia, not killing her, but and then causing Travis to kind of let loose all that rage he's been holding back on for these 5-6 episodes. What did you think of that scene? What was the?
Yeah, I was surprised heavily. I mean, if you kind of really, I guess, think about it, is he doing it? Is he turning the gun because he knows by shooting her it would maybe affect him more? It would affect Daniel more than just shooting him.
True. But
then it's kind of like, well, he's in the military. He should be a much better shooter, but then maybe he's hurt. I don't know.
Right.
It was definitely a surprise. I thought when he turned the gun on her, he was going to kill her. I mean, fortunately, she's probably going to survive. Like you said, it wasn't a mortal wound. So, but very surprising. I mean, there's that whole thing of did Daniel kind of nodded him to do it?
I have a conspiracy theory. That was my not my initial thought. I went back and watched it again, and when I saw the scene, my conspiracy is that Andy is a plot. He's a plant to come out, and because Daniel in the episode where he first tortures Andy, I felt he was doing it and kept going with it. One, for the cobalt information, but initially he didn't really have to do that.
Right.
I think it was just feel out everyone's positioning on his what he's doing. Madison was obviously like, well, I don't really condone it, but whatever you got to do, right? Save my family. Travis was totally against it. So I think Daniel can get a gauge on where they are in this desperate situation.
Right.
So I'm thinking, my theory was that if you watch closely, and it could be nothing, but if you watch closely, he's got the gun on Daniel, and right before he turns the gun on Ophelia, he kind of gives him a little like head nod, and he turns it and shoots her. And I'm thinking he could have planted Andy there and said, look, I'll help you get out or save you or whatever. Some sort of reward for doing that, to see where Travis, if it would finally snap Travis into that fear, fight at all cost mode, which it did, and may have just been unintentional and just the consequences of how it played out. But I always like to have a little weird storyline in there. So we finally get to the end, and we come to find at Strand's house that Liza, Travis's first wife, has now been bitten, and she knows the consequences of being bitten. And we talked about this too. I always thought it was really interesting how it seems like in The Walking Dead, it takes a long time for everyone to get a grasp on how everyone's infected, how it doesn't matter how you die, you're going to come back, and what you have to do to actually kill a zombie. It seems like everyone in this show, and considering my arguments, my gripes early on, where everyone was in denial constantly, and everyone was trying to deflect what was happening, they seem very accepting of like, okay, get bit, get blow your head, shoot somebody in the head, right? That seems to be but they were with military people who maybe have been studying this. They were for 9 days or whatever it happened to be. But we find out Liza's bit, and she walks off, and Madison follows her to find out what's going on. And she asks Madison, I'm bit, take me out. You never liked me anyway, blah, 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 kind of joking. Very heartfelt scene, very ending scene. But I think the whole finale was just about bringing Travis to the point of no return, because they did a nice little device in the show where they started off with the beach and the water, and you knew something was happening. They circled back around to what actually happened, and so Travis, who I didn't think would actually do it, honestly,
I didn't think so either.
He was the one more than willing to go ahead and take Liza out. Didn't seem like there was much hesitation, so they would have dragged out a whole lot longer. They kind of said their final goodbyes. And it's all said and done, and then he's holding her on the beach, and then the kids come running up. So talk about that, because I thought that was that made me care more about the characters. Maybe not to the level of some of the characters I've seen in The Walking Dead and kind of getting attached to, but I think that was an important moment to get you to care about all these other characters. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I mean, I think what was said was going to probably come true maybe next season, where Liza says if Travis does this, it's going to break him, and you can tell it already did by the end. So I really feel like that's going to be a bad part of his psyche going into season 2. Where he's gonna. I mean, I think he's gonna struggle with that for a while. Because I kind of feel like Madison is. I hate to do the parallels, but I think Madison is actually more the Rick character. She's very strong, very determined. She's kind of figuring it out really quick on what needs to be done, and I think Travis is kind of like the guy in the background, coming up. So I don't know. So I felt like it was a great way to end the season. Unfortunately for Liza.
All right, so instead of doing the actual episode itself, let's just give our rating for the entire season, the first season of Fear the Walking Dead. What's your final verdict?
I'm going to say, because of the finale, I think it jumped up to the 4 out of 5 for me. I was kind of lingering around 3.5, but I think this was a strong push into season 2, so I'm going to go 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I think the finale actually saved the series for me, and you push it to probably about a 4 as well. I could live with that.
Chad, what do you say?
4.
4?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
4.
So we're 4 here, 21.
4 stars. So I do think we do think it was a good spin-off series. It took a little while to get going, but I think they've really positioned themselves nicely going into season 2. Where it can go from here, I think it could be an interesting story, a little breakaway from what we have with the characters in Walking Dead. Is it zombie oversaturation? Apparently not, because they're getting huge ratings still.
Yeah.
So people aren't.
I think we're already getting 13 episodes for season 2 or something like that.
Yes,
a lot more.
Yeah.
So.
And this was much like season 1 of Walking Dead. They did 6 episodes. It's like, hey, pull it out there, see what happens, see what people, if they bite. Pun intended. And so yes, they.
This guy.
So I haven't used a zombie pun yet.
Right.
So.
All right.
All in all, excited about season 2?
I'm very excited. I'm very excited. I'm wondering when they're gonna. It's being so many episodes. I'm wondering if they're gonna run it at the same time as The Walking Dead, or start it earlier in the summer. I don't know. But I'm definitely looking forward to it. A lot of Walking Dead, man.
All right. So that's our wrap up of the season 1 of Fear the Walking Dead. But it's not a wrap for In the Comics Dead Edition, because we have more coming for The Walking Dead. Season 6 has begun. We've kind of delved into it, kind of digested it, and figure out what we think about it so far. We'll do a little time about it, and we will come back.
Intestines,
digesting, and we'll regurgitate it back to you here in a little bit. But be sure to come back for I don't know what episode is at this point. It'll be episode 7 for us, but episode 1 of season 6 of The Walking Dead. So stay tuned for that. For David Cottingham, Russell Johnson, thanks for watching In the Comics Dead Edition. See you next week.